Welcome everyone. My name is Alexia Clements and I lead our worldwide hybrid cloud solution sales. Today we're discussing one of the biggest shifts facing enterprise IT, how to move AI from pilot to production while controlling costs, managing data, and simplifying hybrid cloud operations. I'm joined today by Noel Bravo, private cloud leader at Kyndryl, and Gilles Thibault, SVP of worldwide hybrid cloud sales at HPE. Thank you for both for being here today.
Thank you.
And congratulations for Kyndryl as being named the Global GSI Partner of the Year.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to receive the award. And I think our relationship is very special. And what makes our partnership different is, and relevant is, how closely we are co-engineering our next-gen private cloud using your GreenLake technology and maintained by our agentic AI and platform engineering system. We are really truly delivering public experience on a private cloud controlled environment. So I think this, how we closely work and how we are co-engineering the platform is what is making the difference in the market.
I think you're spot on, and it's great to see the synergy of our two companies. Gilles, let's start with you. How about we start with the big picture? What are you hearing from customers right now, and what does this feel like in terms of this inflection point?
Well, as you said, I think what's coming out of all the conversation we've had at this event, but also the last couple of months, it's a real inflection point. And what we see in customers facing three types of challenges at the same time. First of all, cost, and for different reasons. Increasing cloud costs is number one, virtualization costs, and everything which is happening on supply chain. Number two is AI is really moving from pilot into production in more and more companies. And then number three is just the complexity of managing it all. So most of the companies are hybrid today, but really hybrid by accident with multiple tools, multiple operating models. And that makes it very difficult and very costly as well.
Mm-hmm. Noel, from the Kyndryl perspective, does that match what you're seeing with your customers?
Yes, that matches very much. So we see, the challenges that Gilles mentioned, as well as we understand actually that the customers' environments are outdated. The architectures that we designed 5 years ago are not good enough to support current applications and AI models, and the customers really are thinking on rethinking their IT foundationals. And this is very important, right? The customers are not just thinking to modernize layers, they are thinking and construct new environment from scratch, from a greenfield scenario, right? And given that, there's data complexity, network complexity, and a mix of operational models, the customer are really thinking on, hey, let's rebuild everything from scratch. Let's use the technology as a leveler to rebuild the operating model. And I think this is one of the most important things that they are now considering and transforming, because the technology is now a business enabler, is not anymore a construct or an issue to achieve the business goals. So yes, this is what we've seen on the market, and I think this is what we're addressing together.
Thank you, Noel. I think that's spot on in terms of what we're both seeing in terms of the industry and where customers are at. What do you typically see where modernization efforts get stuck with customers?
Well, most customers understand that they need to modernize, but they often get stuck because the environment is already complex. They have multiple clouds, legacy virtualization, fragmented tools, and different operating models. Data spreads across many locations, and the challenge is not just the lack of ambition. I think the challenge is how to sequence and plan that modernization. Knowing what they have to modernize first, where get the best or the most TCO from the modernization, and really how to, from this modernization, take real business value.
Gilles, what is HPE's point of view on what AI really changes for enterprise architecture?
Well, our view is quite simple. You heard it from Antonio on stage a couple of days ago. AI changes the infrastructure, not only the workload. And more specifically, agentic AI requires a new enterprise architecture. And we're building it as HPE and together with our partner in Kyndryl. What the architecture we need is an architecture that needs to be connected, secure, and governed, and needs to be hybrid by design and operated as one system. And frankly, the real challenge we're seeing now is not only deploying AI, it's really running AI across different environments. It's also managing the data at scale and controlling costs, obviously.
A major theme that we're seeing with customers is really around moving AI from pilot to production. From your perspective, what really changes when a customer moves from experimentation to production?
Yeah, well, everything becomes really serious when you go to production. Just not just to continue playing with technology is not because of the risk that you have by introducing new models in production, is because the real cost will come, right? So and the governance, sorry, I lost my question. So the customer needs stronger governance, better data readiness, cleaner operating processes, and more resilient infrastructure. A pilot cannot be isolated. Producing AI cannot be. So it has to connect business workflows, enterprise data, security controls, and operational support. That's why customers need an architecture and execution roadmap. We cannot execute and go to production by accident or because we have some part of the companies that are running those pilots. It needs to be part of a programmatic approach.
So really thoughtful planning and
Yes,
organization to
absolutely.
make sure they can drive for success. What does that mean for customers practically?
I think it means that they need to be very deliberate when they think where and how to start. They need to understand which are the workloads that are ready, where are the data, which controls are required, as well as what operating model we support at scale. So the technology is important, but customers also need a roadmap that reduces the risks and also creates a measurable progress. We want to create things that we really can measure the business outcomes, right, and the benefit for the enterprise.
Gilles, how do you see HPE's hybrid cloud strategy answer that challenge?
Well, I think it's very clear. Our strategy is really to deliver a unified hybrid operating model, which is AI ready by design. And in practical terms, what it means is that we need a simple way to deploy, operate AI across all the environment, being the public cloud, being the data center, the edge, or obviously private cloud. The way we're looking at things is that hybrid is not really where the workload is running, but it is all about operating everything consistently.
You know, Gilles just made the point that hybrid is less about where the workloads live and more about how the whole environment runs. How does that show up for customers in practice?
Well, I think that hybrid complexity really is, or you see when the teams cannot operate consistently, right? So we have people that are operating cloud native, operating legacy, or operating databases, or operating system middlewares. So each team manages, different platforms. And other teams, manage infrastructure. So this is the complexity. It creates friction. You don't know who is the owner of what when something wrong happens. So an unified hybrid operating model helps customers to bring those pieces together, right? So they can deploy faster, govern consistently, and improve cost visibility. And for us also, it's important how we are helping, because not just how you're managing your current state, is how you ensure that the new application that comes to the environment, comes with the security embedded by compliance by design. So we're introducing the model of the platform engineering to reduce not just the technical gap, right? So we help the developers to put the workloads on the right place, but we are helping them from a regulation and compliance perspective, right? So that platform engineering model, right, help and guide the developers, not just from a technical perspective to consume the technology in the right way, but also to place the workloads where it deserves.
That workload placement is so key.
Yeah.
Gilles, can you break down HPE's hybrid cloud strategy down into the major pillars?
I think it's quite simple. I think there are three major pillars. The first one is obviously GreenLake, right? GreenLake as the hybrid control plane, and it gives you a unified control across private cloud, public cloud, the edge, the data center, and so on. I want to mention, and I think you're going to be sensitive to it, obviously GreenLake Flex solution as well, which gives you, all that flexibility you made on infrastructure, really in the cloud economics as well. It's been hugely successful through the years, and right now in the current environment, even more so. So that's number one. And what it brings really is a more predictable outcome for the customer as well, and the flexibility. Second is really that unified AI-driven operation, and Morpheus and Opsramp are playing a key role. We just announced Morpheus 9, on stage, which is really big. It's bringing new feature like a software-defined network and stretch clustering, obviously. It's very big. It helps you enable AI ops as well and GreenLake intelligence. What it brings is automation across your infrastructure stack. And then number 3, in terms of our strategy, is really our private cloud portfolio, which is really second to none, and then our data solution as well. And what we want to do is really giving customers a secure and sovereign AI environment, which is really close to their data, which is really important, but also the right data foundation for them.
Noel, question for you. When customers hear unified operations, what value do they expect to see first?
Well, as we mentioned before, they want to expect fewer silos, less manual efforts, and faster decisions. So increase the level of automation. How do we introduce agentic AI to the operation? So we want to provision faster, resolve the issues faster, anticipate the issues before it happens, not work on a reactive way, work on a proactive manner, reduce the number of disconnected tools, as well as help the teams to manage the infrastructure better with a common tool set. In many cases, the immediate value comes from simplifying the environment and giving teams better visibility to the cost, and have to end-to-end visibility from infrastructure to applications to the business processes, right? So this is what it means to simplify the model. Reduce silos, have less tools, as well as have an end-to-end perspective, north-south, east-west.
Gilles, the hybrid cloud portfolio has never been stronger. There's a lot of discussion about taking AI from pilot to production. What does that really require from customers?
Well, that has been a lot of the discussions, right? Well, what it requires is very simple. It's a secure, governed, and production-ready AI architecture, right? What the customer needs is to run AI, which is close to the data. They want to protect sensitive information, obviously. More and more, they want to govern the agent behavior. And last but not least, they want to be able to do not only the training, but also the inference at scale. So this is why private cloud for AI, AI factories, and data fabric are so important in our portfolio. And AI-ready data is not something which is optional these days. If the data is not accessible, it's not governed, resilient, or protected, AI cannot scale responsibly inside the enterprise.
Noel, for you, AI readiness is often discussed in terms of infrastructure, but what about the data readiness do you see that's so critical for customers?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So data readiness is one of the biggest gaining factors. Customer needs to know where and who is accessing their data, with which rights and for what purpose. And this is very important. So whatever is governed, whatever is it's used safely for AI, right? If the data foundation is weak, AI will not scale well. And we see this in many, many customers, that if data is not well governed, if the data is unstructured on the data center, then the AI is not scaling well. So part of our work and part of the work is helping the customers to connect the AI ambition to the data architecture, including governance, mobility, resiliency, protection, and compliance, right? And I think this is something that is a key factor to successfully scale AI on the enterprises.
Gilles, you're out there talking to customers every single day. How should customers think about sovereignty and governance in that context?
Well, I think it's not an option. I think sovereignty and governance need to be built in, and that's what we do at HPE. So what I'm hearing from customers is that what they need is really to control where the data resides, and who can access it. And most importantly, our models and agents will behave and access this data, but also planning for the worst. And how will they recover if something is going wrong at the end? So HPE's approach is really to provide a connected, secure, and hybrid foundation, which is really across networking, cloud, data, and operation as well, so that can really scale AI with confidence.
Noel, how central are sovereignty, governance, risk management to the success of these AI programs?
Well, we think this is critical. Customers want to innovate, but also they need to know what data or how the data is protected to control the access. The operating model need and can support regulatory and sovereign requirements. This is especially important in the regulated industries. The customers that move fastest are not the ones that ignore the governance. They are the ones that build governance into the architecture by design from the beginning.
Very good. How do you help customers move from a pilot to something that's, can actually run in production?
Yeah. So we start first helping them to know what are their state. We start with a readiness assessment. We look at the data foundation, the infrastructure, the operating model, the controls, and we give them a full perspective on where they are today and what is the roadmap of the plan that they need to execute, where are the priorities, where we help them to know what is the right plan to go there. Then we define with them the right sequencing. So what should we move first? What needs to be modernized first, and where the automation can reduce the risk. Production AI really requires discipline. It's not proof of concept. It is an enterprise capability. AI, agentic AI, augmented AI, whatever is the format we are using AI, we see AI everywhere, needs to be securely controlled and part of an overall operating model.
So really understanding what's a customer's AI maturity and then getting them on a clear path to production.
Exactly.
Gilles, from your perspective, many vendors out in the market are talking about AI, they're talking about cloud, they're talking about operations. Why does HPE stand out and win from your perspective?
Well, for me, we win because we bring it all together at the end. What the customer wants, they don't want like fragmented tools, they don't want point solution. What they need is an integrated stack, an integrated approach, a new architecture instead of more complexity. What they need is hybrid by design, and not just cloud-first constraints. They need governance, they need security, they need sovereignty built in the solution, and critically, they need a partner. They need a partner that can help make AI operable, scalable, and economically viable, and that's what we bring as HPE.
It's terrific. Noel, to you, where do you think Kyndryl can best complement HPE to maximize the value through this journey?
Well, really, HPE is bringing a strong technology foundation across, every cloud, AI, networking, data, operations, and Kyndryl will help the customer to translate this into a really executable transformation path. So we help the customer to digest all the innovation that is coming and resolve together the challenges that are facing. That includes help them to assess migration planning, operational design, automation, and what is the future operating model they should adopt. The combination of HPE and Kyndryl is really powerful because customers need both, right? The right architecture and the ability to implement this in a real environment. I think both companies, we're working on a heavily regulated industries. We're managing most of the complex environments all over the world. I think when the customer works with HPE and Kyndryl, we're synonymous of confidence, trust, and innovation, right? So we help them first to assess the environment, second, to build a new solution that fits for the business purpose, and second, to manage efficiently and securely.
Well, I think the message is clear from both of you. AI is changing the architecture and not just the workload. And the companies that succeed will really be the ones that can operate AI securely, consistently, economically across hybrid environments with really a practical execution model to make it real. So last question, what do you hope we will have accomplished together next time we see each other? Noel, how about you start?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
I'm sorry. Last question. When we're back, so I'm trying not to say discover. That's the...
Yeah.
Right, so sorry. So last question. We have a strong partnership between Kyndryl and HPE. What do you hope we have accomplished together next time we see each other?
Yeah, I think, making this vision of the new AI architecture a reality for our customers, that's what I hope we will accomplish as a joint team.
Yeah, I think we have a complementary perspective and value proposition for the customers, combining the outstanding technology from HPE and our experience managing critical services and helping the customer to transform, bring together that innovation and the way that this alignment is working. I think it will help customers to bring faster and better business outcomes.
Thank you. I so appreciate both of your perspectives. I think we've got a great opportunity in the market and to build upon with Kyndryl and HPE.
It's a great pleasure.
Thank you.
And thank you for being a great partner. We're really proud of everything that we're doing. And, Gilles, thank you for being an executive sponsor of Kyndryl as well. Thank you both for joining us today in the insightful conversation. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for
Thank
the
you,
invitation.
Alexia.